Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our crypto spiritual energy update. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm airing live from Florida, so please use this opportunity here for our live broadcast to ask questions. Let me know where you're watching from. Most of you seem to be watching the updated or the edited version here on YouTube. Anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for spending your time with me and how collective energies translate into the financial markets or the cryptocurrency market, to be precise. Yes, and I just finished the energy update here live on YouTube for the collective energies for the next week, 23rd till 29th of March 2018. And if you guys are like me, sort of a little woo-woo and a little technical, then you'll find the right mixture here. So my job, besides having extensive work experience as an IT management consultant and energy worker for the last 10 years here at transCODES, is to bring these two together. All right, and today I want to talk to you about, of course, some of the things that have been happening in the last week, but also how these collective energies that I pick up in the energy coaching and energy training work here at transCODES, how I can see this translate into the cryptocurrency market. And I know we all want the crystal ball predictions, which I cannot provide to you, but what I can show you here is a correlation, not a causation, but a correlation. So what you're looking at here on the screen, this crypto spiritual barometer, is something that I have been using successfully here the last months, since last year, to come up with forecasts based on the collective emotional sentiment. This is something I work with every day here at transCODES with people from all over the world. And this is something that I now refine or have refined to a point where I actually have to say I hate being right. Okay, so a lot of the things that we see here as energy workers, you know, that are bothering people physically, emotionally, mentally, in their relationships, spiritually, or energetically. And once more, just for those of you who are new to this kind of energy report, these predictions, these forecasts come from collective data working with energetically sensitive, visionary, and precognitive people. So how these energies translate into the cryptocurrency market is actually beyond interesting. And it's been pretty accurate so far. So last week, even though at the time of the energy report here, everybody was expecting a bull run in the cryptocurrency market. And I was bold enough to say, look, guys, this is a time of very, very high volatility. I don't think this is going to happen. Not to be negative, you guys know this about me. I'm one of the hodlers and drummers for seeing the potential in the cryptocurrency sphere. But I'm also working with a lot of people, and I've helped a lot of people to open themselves up. I do cryptocurrency beginners courses. I do do's and don'ts, and I even give abundance coaching for people, which is not the same as financial advice, but based on the data that I can collect here, I can see very clear trends. And so I'm, of course, a fan of research tools, which I frequently publish here in the Crypto Spiritual Facebook group, as well as in the description text here of this video. So some of which I've come across a very, very cool new research tool, and I want to share this with you. It's a so-called heat map. Let me put this on the screen for you guys. It's very, very cool. And what it does is it shows you all the coins and all the tokens based on a selection that you can do, like the performance in the last 15 minutes or day or year. And I want to have a look at this and why I like this so much. Okay, this is the performance here for today. And if you click on the short symbol for the tokens, you get a little more info there. And you can change the performance, like say the last 15 minutes here, how this looks. And to me, as a researcher here in regards to the human nature, it represents a very beautiful picture. I'm very visual, as most visionaries are, and so these kind of things like really help me to tune into energy. So if I look at the performance of the last 7 days, which would be the last week, we see a very mixed picture, almost like a not changed picture. But what happened in the last week was an onslaught of news, an onslaught of FUD, an onslaught of positive news as well. And so it went back and forth and back and forth. And we're still a bit in a slump. We've lost, almost more than half of the market capitalization since January. And there still isn't enough stimulation for say noobs, for people who are new to the cryptocurrency sphere, to get motivated or to overcome their fears. But for those of you who are negative about the cryptocurrency sphere, I want to use this tool to show you the 1-year performance. This is something we forget sometimes when we look at the volatility of the ongoing markets. We forget how much money was already being made and how much development has taken place here. This is the return of investment for the biggest, based on the market volume, coins or currencies here within the last 12 months. This was when I pretty much recommended all of you guys here within my weekly energy updates to get into cryptocurrencies. And this is only the beginning, guys. So I really want you to understand that when we talk about these crypto spiritual energies, we're not talking about woo-woo. We're talking about collective momentum that is actually going on right now. And it's much, much bigger than people think it is. It's not about making money, getting the Lamborghini, or becoming a millionaire overnight. This is about a whole new paradigm change. And like the reason why this is so difficult for us to predict is because it's a grassroots movement. At least at this very moment it still is in its infancy, and we have not quite yet seen the full sort of move of smart money, as we call it, the Wall Street money coming in. Now, this is about to change, but not next week, all right? This is about to change here in the late spring and early summer, and I want you to understand that this is a serious shift that is going through our entire collective, through our society. There's a word that I used here in the keywords of the description text, which is a German word called Aufbruch, Aufbruchstimmung. Some of you know that I'm also a translator, and within transCODES, that's really what I do. I help people to translate, transcode their energetic sensitivity. But there's a reason why I use this word here. This is not because this reminds me of just a word. There's no translation for this in the English, and that is a new momentum that is coming in with a generally positive or optimistic notion to it. However, also slightly over the top, slightly blindish and not realistic, with maybe unrealistic expectations. So Aufbruchstimmung is something that characterizes say the energy in Germany in the 50s and 60s, where these emerging new industries were starting to become important again in the world economy. And this is something that I'm feeling right now here for the cryptocurrency sphere. We do have to understand, though, that as long as there is not enough application, as long as we don't really have all these use cases, where we can see the blockchain technology that's underneath cryptocurrencies fully applied in our daily lives, okay, which may never fully happen to the degree that we understand that, whenever we make a credit card transaction or whenever we buy something online, that there's actually a blockchain technology underneath it. But at least, we understand today, even though most people don't know how it works, that internet, for instance, is the technology that's underneath, going online and buying something. So blockchain really is sort of a whole paradigm change, and you need to understand that this is why people like myself are so enthusiastic, and why it's impossible, to shut us up. It is impossible. You've noticed me moving here from Facebook Live to YouTube Live. You've noticed that I've created a different channel, a different website, a different everything here for the cryptocurrency stuff that I report about, simply because we are in the middle of the war on cryptos, where sort of the old power structure tries to prevent the large majority of people to participate in this paradigm change. And so we've heard, last week that Twitter is going to, or most likely is going to integrate cryptocurrencies as, or sees cryptocurrencies as the major world currency in the future, while YouTube announced that they're going to shut down all ICO related or cryptocurrency related ads in June. So it's very fragmented and very confusing right now for the great majority of people, for the mainstream. And that's why we have to wait a little till all this settles. It's just like with the internet, guys. If you were there, in the late late 80s, beginning 90s, and listened to those conversations and those discussions that were going on, whether or not the internet is going to succeed and what it can do for us as a society, it's funny. It's really funny in retrospect. However, the collective energies here that come from the report for next week tell me that there are going to be big surprises here for this next week in all directions, positive and negative. So I'm expecting continued volatility, and we have to be prepared for something really big. Probably even at the end of March, beginning of April, something really big, guys, okay? So the predictions that are floating around here on YouTube, the bullish predictions that everything is, gonna break out this week, and that we're gonna have a bull run, I'm not expecting this until the second week of April. All right, so I'm not being negative. I'm still in Aufbruchstimmung, but I'm also trying to be realistic here, just looking at the emotional sentiment right now. And that tells me that there's going to be a lot of pump and dump going on next week, simply because the fear of loss is going to be triggered. And what is triggering the fear of loss? News such as, the one of the hardware wallets, ledger being hacked, for instance, or even stuff like, the confession, that Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, made, that Facebook has allowed the misuse of your personal data, which, by the way, I'm actually surprised people are surprised. I mean, that was not the kind of surprise that I meant, because that's like obvious stuff. Okay, we've always known this, but that people are actually beginning to see this now, and that there is sort of, a realization of how important our personal data is. Those are very, very positive things for me, even though they shatter people's beliefs. And that's why you need to expect the continued volatility here. We are still in the phase of the sort of last hooray of the old paradigm, the old system, the suppression, the oppression, the repression, and the denial of the existence of new technologies that can actually help to circumvent the monopolization and the unequal wealth and power distribution in this world. So some of you may have noticed news in the last week about the comparison between NASDAQ and the cryptocurrency market. And this is actually something that is very true in my view. Somebody compared the charts, the NASDAQ charts, with the cryptocurrency charts and said this is the same thing, just 5 times faster. And here I really want to remind you, if you are energetically sensitive and an investor, the temporal perception of things is a bit off right now. Okay, so that's why we need to expect surprises. All right, everything that we know from chart analysis, everything that we know from the past still applies, but in a much different timeline or trajectory as we have experienced this in the past. All right, so get ready, guys, for a very, very fast development here. And this is not financial advice, but if you are interested in wanting to know, when to be ready to invest, or when, yes, the something big is about to come, then get ready to make a move, big moves in April. This whole April, May, and June looks extremely, extremely promising. So the nature of these surprises here, Gerald, that I'm mentioning, is surprise. So I know this is not satisfying, really, and I'm not, like I said, I don't work with a crystal ball, but I can tell you that the collective energies are preparing us to be able to respond in a flexible way, which to me means that that there's probably something bigger on a geopolitical level that is going to happen, that then produces sort of ripples into the financial markets. I'm not really positive about Wall Street right now, guys, for the next couple of months, but I'm very, very positive about the cryptocurrency market. So, be ready, be prepared. The chakras affected, the energy centers affected this week are the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, which always bodes badly, all right? This is fear of loss, this is a pump and dump, and it is unrealistic expectations, the very things that I talked about, as well as the 5th and the 6th, which means to the 6th chakra, the 3rd eye, the precognition, the vision, it links you into the future and what you want to see there, but it also reminds you to maintain the realism. And the 5th chakra is the one that's responsible for expression, but also for truth. So there's a few things here that need to be removed out of the way, that need to be cleared, okay, for your vision to become more realistic. So I think it is safe to say that AUFBRUCH, this optimistic momentum that you feel within, is real. But don't go into expectations or premature conclusions, all right? Still, stay very grounded. That's your 1st chakra. Don't allow your greed that may be coming in here by the beginning of next week. Don't allow that to get the best of you, because the emotional sentiment, overall emotional sentiment, is still very fickle, which means that even if there is a little bit of a bull run, it's not really going to be stable enough to, like, say, double or triple the market capitalization that is about to come, but not just yet, okay? Give this another week or two, all right? And you can still make a lot of money. Those of you who know how to trade, you know, and who you know how to stay safe, who know how to navigate through this wild west, you know, which it still is, you know, you can make a lot of money. Feel into your own intuition, but don't fall for your fear or your greed. If you can heed that, you're pretty well equipped to make money. Listen to your feeling when to sell. All right, the overall recommendation with the cryptocurrency market is to hodl, simply because you know, the majority of people is not really that confident yet with trading, and so it's safer to just, you know, get into the crypto market and stay there and don't move for 2 years, you know, and you'll have a guaranteed success. But for those of you who want to really work it, you need to learn how to sell at the right time, okay? Many of you are good at seeing the opportunity when to buy, but the hardest part psychologically and energetically is to pinpoint the right time to sell. And maybe we should talk about this next week here. I'd love it if you guys give me a few things that you would like to be illuminated, that you would like to be or like me to talk about from an energetic point of view here for next week. Please do this in the comment section here, and of course you can always ask questions. I would like to close our Crypto Spiritual Weekly with that, and smash the like button if you haven't done this yet. All right, visit our Crypto Spiritual Facebook group if you want to stay within the knowing, so to speak, and maybe check out the 1-minute newsletter that I post there, which is published by the Crypto Telegraph. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Yes, Gerald, I agree with you. When to sell is a good idea. It's a good subject to cover, and not so much just from a technical standpoint, but from an energetic standpoint. Yes, thank you, guys. Love you and hope to see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.